Welcome to the third session of TMP's AI Week. My name is Ali Hussain. I'm the SVP of Strategy at the Marketing Practice, and I'm very excited about the session we've got today. I had a huge amount of help putting this together, thanks to Karen, who sat next to me, who will introduce each of our startups in a minute. But just before we get into the main session, which is really about the people presenting and the amazing ways they're creating value with generative AI, I do just want to talk a little bit about the theme for this week. And the theme is very much around from wow to how. So generative AI has been full of excitement and surprises and these moments that are kind of mind-blowing over the past 2 years. But what we wanted to do, and what we're hearing a lot about from our clients, is, okay, that's fantastic, and we can all see how exciting it's going to be. How exciting, how can we get value from it right now? So how can we make it practically useful for us? So that there's kind of three elements to this. First of all is, how can I get specific value for my role in my organization? Secondly, how can I use generative AI as part of a wider tool set? So what we're seeing is that the most value is being generated by incorporating these tools with other tools and other expertise and some of the things that you already have in your businesses. So what is the role that generative AI plays in your business as part of a wider tool set, wider organization? And then thirdly, the bit that I'm interested in as well is it's such an exciting new technology. Everyone's asking, wow, and everyone's observing what is so new and different about it. But actually, what I'd ask you to think about as you listen to this presentation is not only what's really new and different about it, but also what's the same. Like, in what ways is this wave of new technology echoing previous waves of technology, and what can we learn from those previous waves of technology? So those are three things to think about. How can you get specific value for your own organization? How can you combine what we're sharing and the ideas that we're sharing this week and the tools we're sharing this week with other things you already have, including the people and the expertise you already have? And thirdly, how is this the same, not just how is this different? So I'm going to hand over to Karen now, who is going to just introduce the startups. Karen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ali. So first off, we are going to be joined by Justin, who's founder and CEO of Waldo. Waldo is an AI research assistant where you have access to very fast access to reliable intel, which can inform your marketing strategy. Justin, over to you.
Sorry, Karen, you want to just talk through the
do all of them?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought we were going to do it.
Sorry, go for it.
That's absolutely fine. We also being joined by Kai from Charisma AI. Charisma is a no-code story engine for virtual characters, which can be used to bring your marketing campaigns to life. Third, we have Christian, who is the sales director of Herbia. Herbia extracts insights from complex documents at high speed. So you can use this in your marketing for research across your audiences, competitors, and the like. After that, we are going to be joined by Nick Westall, who is CTO of Empower. And Empower revolutionizes social impact and climate action. So it helps in supporting your ESG or CSR messaging. We then are going to be joined by Jeremy Lambert, who's head of product at Eden AI. Eden AI makes sophisticated AI models accessible to every business unit. So it's a no-code software. We are then going to be joined by Doug, who is the Chief Growth Officer at Yabble. And Yabble is an end-to-end AI software for insights. So it's from data creation to analysis. And finally, we got Shirasha from Hyperbound, who is the co-founder and CEO. And Hyperbound is a really useful tool. It's a role-play tool for sales representatives with conversational AI that emulates any buyer persona. So yeah, welcome to all our guests, and thank you very much for taking part in this session. We'll start with Justin. So over to you, Justin, this time.
All right. Thanks, Karen. You guys can hear me okay? Good. All right. So as Karen said, Waldo.fyi is a new AI for fast desk research. So we help you get smart fast for brand strategy work, for creative work, insight generation, pitches, all that kind of stuff. I want to show you some cool stuff, but before I do, maybe I could talk about the landscape a little bit and our background and kind of where we play in this whole space. So, we found the last company we built is an on-demand research company called Wonder. So we spent the past decade doing millions of hours of desk research for all the top agencies, consulting firms, brands, you name it. And in the process, we learned how great research gets done and built a bunch of tools for our own internal researchers to make them, superhuman at research. And when all this AI, tech came out, we were like, oh, wow, we could take our own internal research tools and combine it with these LLMs to build a product that our end users, the marketing teams we work with every day, could use themselves to get smart fast for all the work they do. So that's the background. And the reason I give this background is because obviously there's a lot of hype in the AI world. A lot of people are building really cool stuff, but there's a lot of gaps still. And I'm sure you guys are all familiar with all the hallucination issues that exist and all the credibility and quality issues that still exist in this world, and I think will for a very long time. And so what makes Waldo unique is two things that we focus on. Number one is because we come from a research background, everything in Waldo is not only cited, but you can inspect and control the sourcing in some really cool ways. You can tell Waldo to only pull data from these 3 subreddits or these industry publications or the last 24 hours or a bunch of really intricate ways of basically controlling the in and the out of where your sources of information come from. The second, and I think even cooler kind of part of Waldo is we have built these automated workflows where in one click of a button, you can do all of the things that your team spends hours on every single day. So, brand audits and creative competitive analyses and the 4 Cs and, culture trend scans, all this kind of stuff. Instead of coming up with prompts and going back and forth with a chatbot for 2 hours and hoping you get credible information, you can literally tap a button and get it done. So I'd love to show you all some of this stuff, and then you guys can experience it on your own as well on our site. But let me just share my screen here for a second. Okay, you guys see my screen? Great. From all the head nods, I'll assume. All right, so this is what Waldo looks like on the inside. And there's essentially 2 ways to use it. So you can ask open-ended questions like you would of a ChatGPT or something like that, and Waldo will create a research outline and let you go deeper. But where the real power is all of these automated workflows that we have built and that you can actually create on your own or edit or manipulate. So I've starred a few of them down here, but we have a catalog of dozens and dozens of these automated workflows, everything from industry market profiles, data point search, audience identification, the 4 Cs, competitive analyses, creative briefs, category thought leadership, you name it. So I want to show you kind of a few of these with some simple examples. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the 4 Cs, but the 4 Cs is basically a way of looking at a company, a consumer, a category, and a culture that creative agencies will often use for the foundation for some of their insight generation. So I can just tap the 4 Cs workflow and I could type in a brand, like let's go for maybe Topo Chico, my favorite sparkling water, and we'll do the category, let's do sparkling water, and hit launch. And I'm just going to launch a few of these really quick, but what you'll see is, so this is the project outline on the right-hand side. And so immediately Waldo is going to start pulling in data on the origin story, recent news, market share, expert opinion, consumer demographics, and then some creative stuff too, like advertising cliches in the space or their position among peers or category issues. You can see it starting to pull in live data here for each of these sections, throughout this outline. So let me just, while this is loading, actually, we'll hop in really quick and then I'll show you a few other really cool examples. So within each section of this workflow, you can see that Waldo will start by pulling out a few high-level bullets. So we have some recent news here on Topo Chico, some distribution stuff. It will also pull in images and infographics for you, which is pretty cool. And you'll probably notice here that every sentence in Waldo has a little number at the end, which is the citation. So you can hover over that number. You can see exactly what the source is, exactly what the publication date of that source is. So you can go as deep as you want. And you'll notice just from these numbers here, by the way, that from these citation numbers, that in the last few seconds, Waldo has read over 180 sources to pull in this data. So it's not pulling in like one source or 2 sources. It is reading hundreds of sources to get you amazing information. And then we give you a bunch of ways of going deeper. So let's just open up an example like the market share section, for example. So it's going to look at like sparkling water market size, Topo Chico's market share. And you can see there's some graphs and charts down here, which we can open up. But then Waldo gives you a bunch of ways of going down the rabbit hole and really exploring, again, without having to have it back and forth. So you can just go deeper, and Waldo will pull out a bunch of more, data points you can explore. You can tap as many of these suggested questions at the bottom that we pull in and generate. So you can look at like factors driving growth, or consumer preferences in sparkling water, or the impact of the Coca-Cola acquisition. And as you tap these research questions, Waldo will instantly go deeper and deeper to find you amazing insights. And we have a bunch of kind of power tools that we don't really have time to go into, but Waldo can pull out every data point for you. It can come up with creative sources for you to kind of use for this research. There's a bunch of ways of going deeper. And then I'll just show you kind of for fun. There's some like fun stuff here too. Like not only can it do research, but it can combine research and thinking in some, really interesting ways. So for example, this section is like cliches in sparkling water, right? So natural purity, health benefits, refreshing experiences, right? So, and what's neat is in these workflows, so you probably see this edit button here, you can actually build your own versions of these very easily. And you can kind of chain together this logic and thinking in some really cool, simple ways to build your own version of the 4Cs or a brand audit or an industry analysis, and have it instantly do that work for you. So pretty cool. I want to show you one or two other really neat examples here. So I'll show you, let's do culture trend scan. So this is really neat. This looks at like cultural trends, macro and micro in a certain category. So again, we can use the example of like sparkling water here. And I'll launch this off. And you can launch multiple of these in parallel. This is going to look at macro trends, micro trends, socioeconomic, multicultural trends. But while that's loading, let's actually pull up one or two other ones that I think are interesting. So, so this buyer persona one is also really cool. So what this one will do is you can give it a brand name and a category and an audience, and it will do a bunch of research on the audience. And then it will actually come up with a narrative for that buyer based on the research it just did. So again, you can kind of like combine research and thinking in some real interesting ways. So just to stick with this Topo Chico thing, let's do sparkling water. And let's come up with an audience, maybe like, let's do like, young dads in the US who want to eat healthy. Let's do that. Cool. And you could be as specific about this as you want regionally. Waldo works in any country, all the major languages and so on too. So just to go back to this cultural trend scan for a second. So this is really cool. You'll basically, just to pull out the project outline here, we'll pull out all sorts of like unexpected influences, new voices, unconscious signs and symbols in this space. So you can really go deep and find really interesting insights. We have some like multicultural stuff here, which is pretty cool. And again, you have graphics and charts for all this type of stuff, surprising data points. And you can go as deep or as high level as you want in any of these sections, which is pretty cool. So back to our buyer persona here for a second, you can see we have, it'll start to first do some research on the audience itself. So like, what do young dads or whatever young parents care about? It'll look at what their audience goals are. So health and hydration, natural resources. And again, everything here is cited. And you can control the sources. So I didn't mention this before, but if you click this little filter button, you can actually choose specific date ranges. You can choose, specific sources you want to include or exclude. Again, you could choose like only Reddit or only, one of these, industry publications. And then it will take all of this research and it will actually build a buyer persona for this person. So Henry is a 24-year-old father living in the suburbs in the United States, with a moderate income. And
Justin, just a minute's warning, if that's okay. Thank you. We're being very strict.
You got it.
With the kind of
I love it. I love it. Thank you for that stuff. So anyway, you could see it's actually taking this research and doing stuff with it. And the last thing I'll show you is the other kind of really neat part about, but beyond all the ways of exploring this data, is how you get it out. So you can easily one-click export to a Google Doc. You can publish your research, and Waldo will create a beautiful landing page that you could share publicly or privately with your, other stakeholders in the business, with everything inline cited. So it's pretty neat. So that's the background on Waldo. it's pretty cool. I think, one of the things that the marketing practice asked us to talk about is where we see this space going and what are kind of interesting kind of trends here. And I think what we're realizing is that, there's so much potential in the AI space, but there's a very big difference between getting 90% of the way there and getting 100% of the way there. And if you just think about it, if something has a 90%, success rate or a 10% error rate, and you multiply that by 7 different steps, you're at like a 50%, 40 to 50% success rate, right? And so getting it right, I think, at each step, and being able to use this AI to elevate yourself and your team to ask the right questions, I think is really critical. And there's some really great, I think, technology that will be coming out to help you do that. But I think like the difference between going from a very simple demo, or a chat GPT to something that actually can be used in the world of work, I think that's where that line is. And I think that's going to be a really interesting problem for us all to straddle. So anyway, that's it. Waldo.fyi, check it out. We'd love to get your feedback.
Thanks, Justin. By the way, FYI, that wasn't me giving you the hurry up. That was Ali speaking through me. It looked like I was saying hurry up, but it actually wasn't me, I promise.
I love it.
It wasn't AI. It was real people. Thanks so much. So hi, everyone. Great to be here. And thank you, Karen and Ali and everyone for organizing. I would like to introduce Charisma AI. If you go to charisma.ai already, probably while I'm talking, you'll get a good sense of it. But our key sort of approach was that our belief is that AI in its broadest sense is going to have a huge impact on the creative industries, which we include marketing, we include film, we include TV, we include video games. And at the heart of that, the sort of the shared DNA in that is storytelling in one way, shape, or form. So we built Charisma in its first sense, and that, by the way, is going back sort of 6-7 years now, to be a platform where writers and creative studios and TV networks can create new forms of storytelling, specifically where they can bring characters that are in their IP to life, and out of that sort of storytelling and that character design, we have now found that translates really well into brand personas, into training, into education, and into learning. So what I'm going to do very quickly today is just run you through a lot of those, and to bring up a little bit more around what Justin says and build on something I just name checked there, was that having built our tech stack prior to OpenAI, actually, one of our key sort of superpowers at the moment is to be 100% controllable. So if you're a brand or you're a well-known IP, Disney or whatever it may be, you can be 100% sure that it's not going to hallucinate and not going to go off track for whatever has been created. So the first thing I will show is I'm going to show the first project, which was with Warner Brothers. And for those of you familiar with the Justice League superhero franchise, this is a project we did with Steppenwolf. For background, Steppenwolf is a 7'6" alien who is intent on destroying planet Earth and most of the galaxy. The animation that you see here was about sort of, I think, a $5 million rig 3D asset that was given to us. And what we wanted to do in this was to test 2 things. One was we wanted to test the pipeline. So what's the production? How easy is it to do? And the second is then, what does it feel like for a member of the audience to be talking to Steppenwolf? And it goes a little bit like this.
I'm Steppenwolf. And you look scared. Are you scared, human?
Yes, I am scared.
Good. You are right to be scared. I have broken 100,000 worlds in Darkseid's name, and now I will break your planet Earth. But there is something in my way. I need a human to infiltrate the Justice League.
Do you think that could be me?
Maybe. That's why you're here. Think of this as an audition to save your planet. So, tell me, does having a purpose like this appeal to you?
If it involves saving planet Earth, then definitely.
A human with actual ambition. You outclass most of your kind and could be the one I'm looking for. Do you have a name, Primitive?
Yes, my name is Guy.
Who gave you such a feeble name, Guy?
My mother did.
One of humanity's great flaws is reliance on blood relations. Your family is your weakness.
So we'll leave Steppenwolf there insulting my family and everything. But you get the idea. Now, what's fun about that is if we go behind the scenes, this is the charisma graph, which you saw in that side by side. So the key sort of pillars of AI that charisma AI has is the natural language processing, the ability to understand what the audience is saying, contextualize it into what that moment is, and then steer it down a particular pathway. And as Karen said, we designed this to be no code. So a writer, can.
I am Steppenwolf.
I can preview that, and then he goes.
And you.
But if I want to add in, say, Karen into there.
And you, Karen.
Then he's shouting at Karen in a sort of unfortunate way, or not in a violent way. But you can see also that one of the things we are doing over and above like a dialogue engine, which is fairly sort of standard things you might expect, is we're also choreographing it. So here we have an emotions engine where Steppenwolf feels anger. That means that these characters now feel something. They've got something more lifelike. They're believable, and that then changes the storyline. So if you're rude to him, the story goes down one way. If you're nice to him, it goes down the other. But naturally, we do go into a number of different generative AI pieces. So we integrate while the primary sort of experience is easy to create. We also integrate into OpenAI and Anthropic's. We're about to add Claude 3, which has just launched. So you've got all of the sort of off-the-shelf generative AI pieces in there as well. Point about generative AI, I always think that it's a two-sided coin. One is the one we know, which is it's generating stuff. The other one, which we're using a lot for education, is its ability to understand what the audience has said in a sort of through a prompt type way. So for one of the projects we're doing with Oxford University, for example, for students, is to understand what the student has written, mark it as to whether it's good or not, and then provide that back. And then the voice thing. So, here, again, putting me in the frame, we've got, I think, over 1,000 AI voices out of the system.
Happy Friday. This is Guy speaking via 11 Labs.
So that's me. But if I want to change that, what day is it? Say Wednesday, I can just update that.
Happy Wednesday. This is Guy speaking via 11 Labs.
So that's me. And actually, I use this to do presentations sometimes, which is a whole other topic. So really, what we want to do here is create this really simple interface for people to create these sorts of elements. I also mentioned training. So let me show you some of the stuff we're doing in this, which is I think incredibly exciting. And our space. Oh, hang on, it's not that. Seen that one. This is the one that I want to show. So I'll talk about this.
It's good.
So we can integrate into any form of digital human. This is the company unique to power their experience. And training really for us is onboarding new employees. It's unconscious bias. It's simulations of conversational scenarios
working in a restaurant
that are directed in the way that you want them to be. We're seeing.
Excuse me. Do you work here?
This is quite fun. I'll pause on this one. So we're seeing retention rates about 175% on immersion. So we know that this sort of thing, away from multiple choice, away from standard e-learning, is really effective. This is a wonderful foundation in LA called the Wonder Seed Foundation, who train disadvantaged kids to get sort of world ready in a number of scenarios. This guy is a particularly angry restaurant customer who has been waiting 25 minutes for a table, and you've got to, placate him. So it's replaces multiple choice, it's controllable, and we have these interactive conversations that can be choreographed. This again is a VR. This happens to be a VR simulation training employees how to deal with other members of staff or colleagues who don't necessarily want to do what you want them to do. So we've got this sort of very clear feedback as well coming through. So Charisma has analytics which dive down into not only sort of how well they've done in terms of playthroughs or the playthrough time, but where you can see actually what they're saying. So you can see the transcripts, and as an HR manager or someone who's looking at the analytics, you can really dive in. Anonymized, we don't know exactly who it does, but you would as a client to see exactly the language that's been used and where people are slipping up or not. So look, that's where we are with Charisma. We're born out of storytelling, which I think is the hard bit, and then applying that up into marketing campaigns, which we've done with Puss in Boots for movies, for brands and so forth over the last little bit. I will pass on to
Christian.
Christian
from Hebia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Guy.
And please do put questions in Q&A, presumably, Karen, as well.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
All right. Everyone hear me? Good. Thank you for having me. Coming to you from our office in Soho in New York. Excited to give everyone an overview of Hebia, an end-to-end AI platform for knowledge workers. Now, if you only take 3 things out of this session, this should be number 1, we have built the most accurate AI platform on the market for data extraction, summaries, and content generation. Number 2, the product works out of the box, no technical integration required, getting you to value in minutes. And number 3, we are large language model agnostic, meaning as these models like ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, etc., get better about every 6 months at this point, we get better. So for some background on the company, started in 2019, our CEO and founder, George Savolka, was getting his PhD in computational neuroscience at Stanford. He was publishing some of the initial research on transformer models, which, if you're familiar, are the bedrock of today's large language models, and also the T in ChatGPT, where he recognized their potential for data retrieval and analysis. He also recognized that his smartest students were graduating from Stanford to go spend 100 hours a week reading, recording, summarizing, and formatting information for their leadership to then make decisions on. These perspectives led him to found Hebia with a mission to bring this technology to knowledge workers. We started building for buy-side finance or private capital, private equity, private credit, since investors would be very demanding customers and the value of removing these rote repetitive tasks was very high. We have since been in production with RAG, a retrieval augmented generation based search and chatbot for over 2 years, serving customers like Sixth Street, Carlyle, Towerbrook, Oak Hill Advisors, and the U.S. Air Force, among many other mega funds. I know not as relevant for this audience, but glad to say we have expanded into other realms. So this experience in the market taught us a few lessons. Common approaches to LLM search like RAG, they don't answer 80% of the questions that knowledge workers ask, as well as it's slow and pretty hard to scale. Fine-tuning a model on one LLM doesn't really keep pace with the rapid development of these things. And enabling users to change their day-to-day workflow with AI takes experience and time. And these 3 things guide our product and how we engage our customers. We handle tremendously complex infrastructure and orchestration required for LLMs to work at scale across millions of pages of data. The product is built on proprietary search and retrieval process and a unique user experience that allows users to find connections among data, between data points, as opposed to simply regurgitating information that's in the data. All responses, similar to some of these other products, are verifiable back to the source. We have over a dozen LLMs integrated. As we build our platform and underlying models improve, our performance improvement compounds. Finally, we have tailored our UI to focus on workflows as opposed to ad hoc or one-off queries with an in-house enterprise AI team that provides white glove support to get customers to value in 15 minutes. So I'm excited today to showcase how our tool, initially built for finance, can be leveraged by marketers across a variety of use cases. And with our time constraint, I'm going to focus on 2 use cases: market research and persona-based content generation. So with that, I will share my screen. All right. So this is Hebia. It is a web-based end-to-end AI platform secured by SSO or whatever authentication protocol your company would use. And essentially, you're going to start by adding documents to the platform. These can be extracted via your internal virtual data rooms, data sites. You can also add documents via simple drag and drop, or we have connected to various SharePoint-like sites such that you can get documents onto the platform. And then, which I'll show you next, is how you run a workflow across Matrix. So we have built out a set of templates, or you can think of them as workflows. As you'll see, this is mainly finance focused. We also are expanding into law and marketing. Marketing, we've started to build out templates. I'll show you one, for example, a market research template we have. Essentially, when you launch that, it pre-builds a set of prompts that will then output in a tabular format, whatever data or insights you're looking for. So for example, here, one of the prompts is, let's say this is a market research template. So you're going to upload any Forrester, Gartner, whatever, there are hundreds of them that come out all the time, add it to the platform, and it will then extract across these various prompts, things like customer experience, any mentions of that, mentions of digital transformation, changes in consumer behavior, brand activism. All of these prompts are editable. This, I mentioned, it's a very flexible platform. Depending on the types of areas you're focused on or the segments you're focused on, you could have it extract whatever data, insights, or analysis that you want. Adding documents, simply go to your personal uploads, add your SharePoint, drag and drop, etc. I'll show you, adding one of my marketing research papers here. It then runs across these pre-written templates and extracts the relevant information very quickly. So here I have a short summary, any mentions of customer experience, digital transformation, social media patterns, etc. The model then returns, if there's nothing mentioned, as a dash. And so that is how ultimately, when you build it out, let's say you add quite a few of these, it looks something like this. I have it in a small view. You can expand it. Everything's downloadable to Excel, able to be reformatted. Some of these are relatively long. All of the outputs are predefined based on you either writing these prompts or our enterprise AI team writing them on your behalf, depending on your goals for the project. We also have a chat bar across the top. So let's say you have hundreds of market research reports over many years. You can then ask questions across that metadata output, such as like this: what are recent trends in digital transformation? It then searches through the digital transformation column, all of the metadata that was outputted, and provides you with a quick summary. I said limit your response to 50 words because I tried this before the call and the summary was about 500. All right, so that is number one. Example number two, B2B product marketing. So I understand marketers, many times they will get a white paper or a product overview of a new feature or product that a company, one of their clients, has launched. Sometimes these are extremely complex and convoluted, and marketers have to then go through, understand within the new feature what is relevant to different types of audiences, and then produce media content relevant to various personas. So here I have a few documents from AWS based on new cloud feature releases. And I have built a matrix template that then outputs short social media posts depending on what persona you have defined. So here, if I go back into the prompt, you are a CMO looking to position the product to a chief technology officer. Draft a 25-word social media post highlighting the most relevant feature or trend listed in the document. As you can see here, it outputs something like this: leverage their AI ML tools for innovation and resilience, process vast data, gain insights, and create cutting-edge applications. So now let's say I have quite a few in them. I want to draft a blog post for the site. I can then go in here and say, draft a 150-word blog post combining all of the social media posts for the CFO target, which is here. And then it should be factual and compelling. And the model will then scan through all of the outputs. Again, this could be tens of documents, hundreds of documents, thousands of documents, and output a summary social media blog post, which I've now, of course, hit an error, live demonstration. Let's try that one more time. There we go. So quick blog post leverages the column that you have selected and the metadata that has been outputted. So that is Hebbia, mentioned quite flexible. We are continuously evolving the product very quickly, but the key thing to remember here, we have built the most accurate, comprehensive engine for data search and retrieval. So the output, depending on what you're trying to do, very flexible, and then we will leverage whatever is the latest LLM. We had Google's Gemini on here recently, took it off with some errors in their new model. It will be back on soon, but there will be more of these that exist all the time. So that is the extent of the presentation. Feel free to go to our website to learn more. We're actually revamping it tomorrow, so might be more information for you there tomorrow. Otherwise, feel free to reach out directly if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you very much indeed. And up next, we've got Nick from Empower, who obviously is using Gemini in a slightly different way, as we're about to find out. I'd also just encourage anybody who wants to ask any questions, do just drop them in the chat and we'll collate them and we can ask them of all the guests at the end. But thank you again. Nick, take it away.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. How can AI help you with corporate social responsibility? I'm going to show you how Empower delivers ESG and SDGs with cast iron results for marketeers. But first, let me set the scene with some horrifying statistics. 14,401 assaults, 10,516 rapes, 1,514 attempted murders, 881 actual murders, and that was just in 3 months in South Africa last year. If we move to Kenya, you can see that 39.5% of female individuals are forced into early marriage, 16.9% sexual harassment, more than 14% are suffering from domestic violence, 12.5% have been raped, and 16.9% of suffering from female genital mutilation. I'm Nick Westall. I'm the CTO at Empower, and I've got 30 years experience of using tech to bring impact and change to business and industries. At Empower, we train and support local heroes in the global south to deliver social change at a community level through a robust system of ecosystem of sponsors, funding, and technology, delivering sustainable long-term impact, strong governance, ethical and efficient operations, removing mismanagement, fraud, and waste from the system. But most importantly, for our enterprise marketeers, Empower delivers high-profile CSR impact and high-value UN DSD reporting for all of the CSR, ESG, and SDG KPIs that you may be looking for. We're delivering UN Sustainability Development Goals through 23 projects in 8 African countries across 8 industries. Our ecosystem is made up of 3 parts: Empower, Empower Finance, and Empower Impact. Empower itself is a sponsorship platform and a system of operation for the rest of the organization. It delivers high value ESG and CSR reporting as the outcome of all of the work that's been done. And it's all in a UN DSD format or in a bespoke format that works for you as an organization. Empower Finance is a stable blockchain fund tied to the US dollar that allows us to deliver money directly to trusted heroes delivering in the community and to collect the high value reporting that we need back for yourselves. Empower Impact is sourcing, training, delivering, and managing the heroes and the projects on the ground. Sponsors and donors use our Impactivator app to select a project and a hero to deliver their CSR commitments against the UN SDG goals. When they've selected a project, sponsors securely pay their donations into the fund through the app, and then Empower delivers that funding directly to the local heroes with no intermediaries through the learn to earn and project impact stages of their projects. Regular progress reports enable the corporates to demonstrate tangible CSR impact. And you'll notice that we have an AI avatar in each of these stages so that you can interact and understand what's going on with your projects and even find out about your projects and decide if you want to invest. But why do we need a middleman? Well, there are a number of reasons. There's abuse of power. People forming inappropriate relationships back with the heroes who are vulnerable people on the ground. Availability of their time. A sponsor or donor could be coming to the site at any time of day or night. This is available 24/7, and it's also available in any language, any of the main languages that you would like. The targeted supply of information. There's a lot of information about the projects that we cover and the way in which we work and how we deliver that. We can give you targeted supply of information rapidly and also pull that across the full breadth of the data that we have. The AI that we're using is produced by a company called Diva, do-it-yourself virtual assistant. I'm going to introduce you to our avatar, which is based on Candy, a hero and our Kenyan country manager. It's a recording of a session that we did this morning of her avatar telling us a little about Empower and her project. We also asked her a random question, nothing to do with Empower, just to see how the avatar would handle it. And it's also been edited down for time.
Hello, I'm a virtual assistant for Empower. How can I help you?
Hi, Candy. What is Empower's purpose?
Hold on while I look that up. Empower's purpose is to eliminate the UN Sustainable Development Goals by empowering social entrepreneurs in the Global South. We aim to create measurable climate and social impact, economic empowerment, and robust, transparent systems that can scale progress at the community level. What else would you like to know about MPOA?
Candy, tell me about your project.
My project with MPOA Kenya is focused on ending gender-based violence and creating a safe, dignified, and equal space for all individuals. We aim to empower survivors through comprehensive services and support, and advocate for systemic changes to prevent such violence. What else would you like to know?
Who won the Super Bowl this year?
I'm sorry, as an AI, I don't have real-time capabilities to provide current events or sports updates. Is there anything else you would like to know?
How can I get involved with Empower?
You can get involved with MPOA by becoming a donor, sponsor, or industry partner. You can also apply for available career opportunities or internships, such as the social media intern position. What other information can I assist you with?
So does the avatar of Candy meet the brief? Well, there are some areas, and the good news is that we know that they're all being worked on that are maybe not quite as good as we want. That time was heavily edited down. So the first response between question and answer took about 10 seconds, and then subsequent questions took about 5 seconds gap in between. So it's a little bit stilted. The energy and the enthusiasm in her voice and her mannerisms doesn't reflect the true human Candy. And we know that there are going to be 3D versions of the avatar coming through with a lot more sentiment and energy coming in, and the full body version of the avatar as well. Trust is at the core of everything we do. So training and testing is going to be absolutely key, particularly given the sensitivity of some of the subjects and the projects that we hold on to. This is not the only place in our ecosystem that we'll be using AI. We've got payment fraud detection in there. We're also going to be checking and cleaning the heroes reports when they're put in through the app. We've also got an AI ethicist to oversee what we're doing and to make sure that the projects, the country managers, the heroes, and the general operation is all as good and as clean as it should be. Empower C AI is an essential component to deliver the trust and safety required to deliver groundbreaking change and support you with the messaging that you need. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you, maybe even become a sponsor or a hero, scan the QR code and to book a meeting with Ryan, our CEO. And that's it. Thank you very much. Please scan the code and we'll catch up on the Q&A on the panel later. Thank you.
Nick, thank you very much indeed for that. And a really fascinating use of the technology there, particularly with ethics at its heart. Up next, we have Jeremy Lambert, who's head of product at Eden AI. So Jeremy, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Alistair. Hello, everyone. So I'm happy to share our vision of AI and how we try to make it easy to use for everyone. So I wanted to start by sharing a tweet with you. This tweet reflects the AI market since the beginning of 2023. Every day, AI companies announce new AI models. And this is also what is happening this year and what will happen in the next years. And basically, this shows how fast the AI market is evolving. Great, because models are continuously improving and now generate text, image, video, audio. All of this is becoming easier for everyone. The thing is that the market is very complex. There are thousands of models, hundreds of AI providers, too much choice, too much evolution, and it's really hard to choose and to take advantage of what the AI market offers us. So basically, that's the pain we identified, and that's why we created an AI. The idea is to provide a centralized access to all the best AI models of the market, and also to help people to find the right model for their use case, and allow to combine the models by creating workflows. The way we see the process to integrate AI is very simple. First, you need to create the workflow according to your need by combining pick and choose different tasks and connect this workflow to your everyday tools. Once you have built your workflow with the different tasks, AI tasks that you need, here is the most interesting part of the process. For each AI task, you need to choose the right AI model, depending on the price, the accuracy, the rapidity. And what is very important for us is that you are not locked with a specific provider. If tomorrow there is a new model available on the market, you can instantly switch to this new model that is maybe better or maybe cheaper. And what is also important for us is the accessibility of those models. So you don't need to create an account everywhere. You just have one account and you can access all the models, and you can monitor the usage, the cost in a centralized way. For us, that's the way to help business units to use AI very easily. We think that you don't need AI experts or data teams anymore to automate your business tasks. And what is awesome is that use cases that you can solve are infinite. It comes from their content generation to content moderation, chatbot creation, image analysis, and there are like hundreds of use cases that you can solve. And I wanted to share with you a quick video of our platform to showcase a marketing use case we have. Get the sound. So there you have the workflow page on Eden AI, and you can describe there the use case you have. There, I want to generate an image and text for my blog post, and it will automatically create the workflow for you with the different AI tasks that you need. So there you see the input data is where you will describe the blog post that you want to create. Then there will be a prompt optimization. It will generate optimized prompt for the image generation and the text generation tasks. And for each of those tasks, you will be able to choose the right AI provider that you want to use, AI model. There you see for the image generation, we call OpenAI Stability and Amazon models. And so once your workflow is ready, you can run the workflow and test with your data. So there you see on the live testing, you can put the description of the blog post that you want to generate, and it will instantly create the images and the text content. So there we call three providers. So you can choose the best image between Amazon OpenAI and stability model, and you have below the text content that was generated. So that's one example, but there are hundreds of use cases that you can solve with this. And what I also wanted to highlight is that I will dive directly into the platform. Normally, you should see our platform there. We talk a lot about generative AI, but there are so many other AI technologies that you can use for text analysis. You have keyword extraction, sentiment analysis, anonymization. You have technologies for video and image, detection of object, faces, moderation of content. You can extract information from documents, invoices, resumes, receipts. You can translate text and documents also, and you can transcribe audio. So there are so many technologies, and you can combine and play with all those technologies to create your workflows. If I go to the speech to text there, for example, you will see there the list of all the models that are available. So there are plenty of AI models, some from well-known companies, famous companies like Amazon, Google, OpenAI, but also speech-to-text specialists like DeepGram, Assembly, Symbol, etc. You just need to upload your audio file there, and I will take the transcription there. You have the results from all the different models. And so you can compare and then choose the right models you need for use case, and then directly integrate this into your workflow. Yeah, I'll come back to the presentation, but I have told everything I'd like to say. Just maybe to conclude our vision is that AI must be accessible to everyone, mainly business teams, from marketers to sales or HR people. They can use AI for their everyday tasks and should not be satisfied just with ChatGPT, whereas there are so much more models and technologies that can better fit with their use cases. So yeah, that's all for me. Our platform is public, accessible. You just need to create an account and you can test it. There are free credits you can play with, more than 50 different technologies. So do not hesitate.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. That was really, really insightful. Thank you very much for your time in joining us. And I'd like to hand over now to Doug from Yabble, please. Hi, Doug. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. So in the first, congratulations to everybody who's been on the call. I've really enjoyed this talk. Thanks for joining. As a participant, in the 8 minutes I have, I want to talk a little more generally about synthetic data specifically, and give something practical. You know, what can I do with AI today? I've been very impressed with a lot of what I've seen so far. Quickly, Yabble's been around since 2019, and we use AI to either process the data that you have, unstructured data. We help you summarize that, categorize it, theme it, code it, translate it, all the things that you might otherwise do through a non-AI method. But today I want to talk about data creation. So I'm a marketer and I have 20 good ideas, but I have budget to test 5 of them. Or I need to do desk research. I need to explore a new market. And I want to be able to do that more quickly, and I have budget limitations. So traditionally, people are going to do desk research, primary research. You're going to talk to respondents, and that's fine. It's a tried and true method. And oftentimes I find when I talk to people about synthetic data creation, it's less about the believability of the model. It's just people have to think differently about it. So today, if you have a campaign that you want to test, or you have an idea or concepts or desk research that you want to do, you pre-litigate everything that you want to talk about. in the form of a document, a questionnaire, quant, qual, some other form. And you do a huge project where you answer all those questions and then you dimensionally look at it and analyze it. And if you've forgotten to ask something, or if something emerges in the data, you don't have a second bite at the apple. So with synthetic data, if it's created the right way, you do. And what I challenge people to do is to think differently. Instead of thinking about having to fly from New York to California, if you have to do that every week, if you were able to teleport there, have you lost any value because you've gotten there quickly, because you didn't drive to the airport or check your bags or have crappy food on the flight? And the answer is often no. It's a means to an end. And there's scaffolding built around the way that we create data, and we're all comfortable with that. But with the emerging ability with AI to be able to create that for you, it's about experimenting. And so I wanted to show you something that you can do today, right? Something that's possible today. First and foremost, as with all things, there's an evaluative criteria that everyone should use when you're looking at synthetic data, because there's ways to do it well and there's ways to do it poorly. And if you're exclusively, or if someone's exclusively using a large language model, it's very likely that the output is going to have some biases in there. This has nothing to do with any specific large language model. It's just an artifact of how they're created. They're probabilistic algorithms and they use predictive analytics, and there's self-consistency biases, recency biases, overly positive biases. So if you just exclusively use a large language model, as a lot of the research has shown, you end up with data that isn't comparable to the real world. So what we at least do at Yabble, and this isn't the only way to do it, but it's the way that we've done it to be able to get around a lot of those biases, is to augment the large language model, which is used as a global context layer to answer your question. And we use a leading indicators framework with publicly available information, like's been talked about today, social media from Reddit, scientific papers, journal articles, historical information, and we bias towards recency. So we get the most recent information possible. So up to the minute on Reddit, up to the moment on something that's publicly available. And we further augment that where desired with proprietary customer data. So that way Acme Corporation, who wants to leverage the last 3 years of information that they've collected, or a variety of information sources that they've collected, they want to put that all together to then be able to create personas so that you can have a conversation with your personas that are informed by recent real world information, as well as your own personal information. That also has the benefit of being the underlying global context of a large language model. And there's places where it works really well right now, and there's places where it doesn't, right? So if you're testing ideas, if you're iterating, winnowing down concepts, or want to get an understanding of what's happening in a market, testing B2B, those are all shelf ready today. If you're doing more visual things, really very specific custom segmentation or scale questions, or testing videos, that's coming soon. But all of that's going to be available today. And it's why I remind everyone that regardless of what your belief is in AI, or what your adoption rate is of AI, it's moving more quickly than any of us have seen before. So it's important to get started. So here's an example. I'm a marketer and I have questions. I want to look at trends. I want to gauge interest in different automotive models. You can put in whatever your topic is, right? So this is the thing that I want to understand, that I would normally now go do desk research, or I'd go get people in a room and do a focus group, or I'll do 500 people online, and then I'm going to cut that data. Instead of doing that huge edifice, I'm going to break it down and I'm going to say, this is what I need to understand. And I can do that globally, of any market, of any audience in the world. And our AI in a few minutes will then come back and create audiences for you. You can change those audiences. You can tailor them demographically or psychographically, showing you the share of voice, that the weight that's going to be used in your results. And you can dial that up and dial that down and regenerate that as much as you want to. The AI will write questions for you. These are the questions that you should ask. You can add your own, you can change them. And once you're happy with all of that, it comes back and it does a few things. It gives you an overall summary. So here's the top line here, the drivers. Here's a persona abstracts for the people that we created. Here's a question by question summary. And then the fun really comes where you can now have a conversation with all of the personas as a group, or I can have individual differentiated conversations with each of my personas, asking them different questions, because we've made sure that there's a great deal of variety and variation between, they're not just different pictures or different names. they really are demographically, psychographically, and behaviorally varied so that you're getting the nuance that you would get from qualitatively talking to people. You can do this in 15 minutes. So if you're sitting in a meeting and someone has a really good idea and you want to test it, you can at 9 o'clock start this, at 9:15 have conversations with the personas, refine the idea, and leave the meeting at 10 o'clock with some empirically substantiated data to at least guide where you want to spend your actual research dollars. We're doing this with companies who are small agencies up to Fortune 100s who are looking to have AI become a part of their research program. And we have a global CPG company that wants to do really rapid iteration from their R&D, their scientific R&D into marketing. And so we did some novel concepts that had never been tested in the world before. And in 15 minutes, we're able to give them the results of that. And then they were able to have these differential conversations that I talked about, and they were able to select the same winner that they would have otherwise selected with their expert panel of 4 people who happened to be in the room at the time, who said, which idea, which concept do you like the most? So while that's valuable and lots of people do it, there's now a way of being able to effectuate the same thing by using AI in a trustworthy way and by using global sources. And lastly, I was asked to comment on where things are going. And I think the thing I focused on the most is what's typically constrained technology adoption curves in the past is the fact that Moore's law says every couple of years, processing power will double. You need infrastructure, you need hardware advancements to be able to make material changes. AI is not reliant on any of those things. It's reliant on novel algorithms and access to data. You could go from a Model T to a Range Rover in the same model year because it's not constrained through the need for hardware or infrastructure. So I expect that the advancements in AI will so dramatically outpace everything in the past that the crossing the chasm model is going to change rapidly, or at least become bifurcated when you're talking about AI and non-AI. So I think it's important that if you're not already exploring the use of synthetic data, which is a long-standing practice, it's just new in this particular application, that you get started now and you understand that over the next 3 years, the landscape is likely to become unrecognizable because of the pace at which it's been able to move. So again, for us here at Gabble, if you have data or if you need data, we can help you analyze that or create it and then analyze it in an effective, trustworthy way that operates at the speed of thought. And that's it from me today.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate we're run over a little bit, but that's fine. Again, keep your questions coming. And we have Shahasha finally to talk to us about the work they're doing at Hyperbound. So Shahasha, if you're online, fantastic. Thank you very much. Take it away.
Hey, thank you so much. Really enjoyed listening to all the previous presentations. There's some awesome tools out there, and I've noticed almost everyone is kind of working at the cutting edge of AI tech today, which is really awesome to see. And there's some overlap between some of the technology we're using as well and some of the tools that I've seen today. So I'm really excited to show you guys what we're building. So honestly, the best way to describe our product is it's basically like if you've ever done sales, it's like a role play product. So the idea is like, normally you'd be role playing with your manager to prepare for a real sales call, right? But instead of role playing with a manager or a peer to practice for that sales call, in our product, you can practice with an AI and role play with the AI directly. So it'll make sense once I show you the demo. So to do that, I actually wanted to ask one of the previous speakers, particularly like I was just looking at everyone's backgrounds. I saw like Christian, for example. Christian, I saw that you had experience in sales. I was wondering if you might want to volunteer to participate in the demo.
Sure, why not?
Perfect. So Christian, I don't know if you have experience doing cold calling before, but we're gonna have you do a quick live cold call here. And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, so let me know if you're not comfortable. But yeah, essentially we're gonna build you a bot that you can role play with and have you basically do a cold call with the AI bot. How does that sound?
Haven't done a cold call in a long time, but more than happy to dust off some of the cobwebs.
Perfect. So what I'm gonna do here is share my screen. Give me a second here. Cool. Can y'all see this? So essentially, Hyperbound allows you to build different AI prospects. And so we have something called the bot builder. So this is the bot builder interface. So in here, I'm basically going to work with Christian here to build a bot that emulates his ICP. And then I'm going to send him a link to that bot so he can start doing a cold call with it live. So before we do that, Christian, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And if you can help me, we can build this bot together very quickly. So what job title do you guys usually target at Hebbia?
Well, let's keep it specific to this industry. So let's say VP of marketing.
Perfect. So you guys target VP of marketing. Okay, and then so as soon as you put this into Hyperbound, you can assume it knows everything about a VP of marketing already, right? It knows all the high level details, the challenges, pain points, day-to-day work. So what I want us to focus on here is like, tell me about a specific VP of marketing that works at a specific company and describe their situation. Like, what are their pain points today? What tools do they use? Stuff like that. So just think of this as a brain dump. Let's start with like, where does this person work?
American Express.
Perfect. I saw they used to work there, which is awesome. So works at American Express. Okay, and then what are some common pain points that this person faces day to day?
Competitive landscape is tough amongst other premium branded credit cards. Figuring out which features would be most relevant to the affluent or soon to be affluent audience is challenging. And then positioning marketing materials that are also regulatory approved, given that Amex, though not exactly a bank, is regulated like a bank, is extremely challenging.
Okay. Like what makes it so challenging specifically? At least from the marketing perspective.
Banking regulations are extremely tight from a messaging standpoint.
So it doesn't allow them too much flexibility and messaging. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any other big pain points you think?
That's good for now.
Cool. And then give me some common objections that you might hear if you reached out to this person trying to sell your product.
We have been doing it one way for 150 years, and it's worked pretty well in Amex's case.
Particular way for 150 years, and it's been working well.
We are concerned about onboarding an AI tool because of our regulatory environment.
So they don't like
and
using
it because they're just cautious about it, and we are worried about the accuracy of the output.
Okay. The accuracy of AI tools and are very skeptical. Okay, perfect. So this is a VP of marketing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit generate bot draft here. And what this will do is it's going to go research a VP of marketing, American Express, right? AI, like it's going to basically take all this context we gave it and build a person that you can start talking to that will emulate this VP of marketing. So give this a second here. This usually takes around 30 seconds to a minute. And what we did here is we just kind of gave it some, like a brain dump about our ICP. So just doesn't have to be structured in any way, and our AI will take care of structuring it. So there you go. So this is Michael Harrison. He's a VP of marketing at American Express. Basically our AI came up with some personal details about him, like you're 42 years old, you're married with 3 kids, currently located in New York, right? Some details about American Express. So it did the research on the company, right? Some details about the org structure, right? Like you lead a large marketing department, you report to the CMO, you work closely with compliance and legal teams, and you work particular on marketing messaging. Yeah, accurate so far?
Sure.
Perfect. And then what are some, so these are some goals, opinions, and objections that it came up with as well that this person might have. So if these look good, we can actually go set up this bot and have you start role playing with it.
Sure. Let's go for it.
Cool. So our AI just came up with all of this stuff, by the way. Normally you'd have to enter all this yourself, but kind of came up with the whole ICP here. And you can also choose, do you want to do a cold call, warm call, discovery call? We can do gatekeeper calls as well, right? So for the sake of this demo, let's choose a cold call. And let's just say, you know, the emotional state of the bot too. You can choose how rude you want the bot to be. You know, we have different states here. So let's just say we go with like a medium difficulty, which is like the less rude setting here. It's just easier to talk to. And there's a lot of other settings here that you can go through. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and publish this person. And we're going to have you cold call. So Christian, right? Let's go ahead and publish this. Ooh. Sorry, give me a second here. There you go. Perfect. And I'm gonna basically send you a tiny URL here. Yeah, could you enter this into your browser, Christian? tinyurl.com/3y42UVS7. I don't think I can send it to you in the chat here. That's why.
Read that again.
So it's tinyurl.com/3y42UVS7. Did that work?
Yep, it did.
Perfect. So go ahead and share your screen, Christian, and share your audio along with that when you do. Do you know how to do that? Share your audio?
I mean, all right. Am I not sharing my audio right now? Just give
No,
it.
so basically, when you share your screen, when that dialog pops up, there's like a share sound checkbox in the dialog on the bottom left. So just stop sharing once. And so now when you press share screen again and you know, there's like a dialog that pops up, there's a share sound checkbox at the bottom left corner of that dialog.
Got it.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, and you're going to be selling them Hebbia, right?
Sure.
Perfect. Yeah, go ahead and just hit start call and you can put in your information here quickly. Yeah, this is just our lead capture form. So yeah, you can just put anything here. Perfect. Cool, and just hit start call. Good luck.
Michael,
Hello,
how are
who's
you?
this?
This is Christian Baker
All right,
calling
what's
from
this about?
Hebbia. This is about Hebbia. How much time do you spend researching and reading through market research documents and generating content based on the research that you find?
Why are you asking?
Well, I'm
Why are you asking?
hoping to potentially save you some time or your team some time.
I see. I see.
Would you
Well,
would
we
you
have a
like
team
to
that
save your team some time?
it varies, but I'd say a few hours a week.
A few hours a week on generating content, market research. What would you say they're spending their time on?
Well, they're doing a lot of things. 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 They're doing.
Man,
So
he was
sorry.
rude.
No, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, that is a live Kurt's demo right there. Yeah, I mean, so I can actually give you a better example here. I'll just try it on my own here. We'll give it one more shot. That's
All
so
right,
weird.
and scene. Thanks all.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Christian. Appreciate it. Yeah, so that is very unfortunate that that failed there. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. Basically, this is Aaron Smith, and he's a marketing ops manager at James Enterprises, and I'm gonna try selling him MailChimp. So if you guys are familiar with MailChimp, it's like an email automation platform, and so I'm just gonna hit start call. I've already built Aaron Smith here, so it's just gonna be me calling him here. Let's hope this works.
Hello, who is this?
Hey, Aaron, this is Harsha. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. What do you want?
Yeah, Aaron. So I was calling because I want to understand how's your email marketing going right now at James Enterprises?
It's going all right. Quite busy, actually. This better be quick.
Yeah, Aaron, no worries. I'll make it quick. So, how are you guys actually doing your email marketing right now? Are you guys using any tools currently?
Yes, we use Marketo for our email marketing.
Gotcha, gotcha. And how are you liking Marketo right now?
It's not ideal. It's filled with manual processes and take too much time. It's frustrating, honestly, but we make do. Now, is that it? I've got a lot on my plate.
Gotcha. No, totally understand, Aaron. I'll try to keep this quick. So, we're actually offering a new service called MailChimp. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but MailChimp is actually a Marketo competitor. We allow you to send emails at scale, and it's a lot easier to use. The interface is just a lot more modern, and it's a very easy tool for your team to pick up. Would you be interested in learning more about it?
Look, I already told you we're using Marketo, and it's not that I'm overjoyed with it, but change isn't easy or cheap.
Gotcha.
We've got processes and all sorts of things tied into that platform, and chances are MailChimp might just replicate the same issues. Are you here just for the sales pitch, or do you have something significant to offer us?
Yeah,
This is
Aaron.
why I dislike random cold calls. People hardly understand what my team needs.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand, Aaron. I mean, you mentioned that you are not too overjoyed by Marketo. Curious, like, what are some problems you're facing with the tool right now?
Fine, since you insist. The whole ordeal with Marketo is a time sink. There's way too much manual work involved in designing and coding emails. Approval processes are a nightmare. It can take close to 2 weeks to get a single email out the door. Plus, our CEO likes to dip his toes in the approval process, which doesn't help speed things up. Happy now?
Gotcha. Wait, so you're saying your CEO dips in the process of approving the emails. Is that right? Or did you mean for something else?
Yes, you heard me correctly. Our CEO likes to be involved in approving emails. It slows down the process significantly. Now, are we done here?
Gotcha. Totally understand. So that's one of the things we actually solve at MailChimp. We have like a collaborative interface to allow everyone on the team to see what emails are being sent out. So, let's say your CEO does want to be involved in that process. He can actually just log into MailChimp, look at all the emails being sent out, and with the click of a button, he can just approve it so it's ready to go. So that's how the tool works. Is that something that's interesting to you?
Thanks for the pitch, but I really don't think this is a good fit. Please don't call me back. Goodbye.
Thank you, Aaron. So that's a quick demo of how the tool works. And you can actually do this on your own at home too. You just go to hyperbound.ai and we have like some analytics on how you did on the call. We have a transcript of the entire call on the right here. We've got a scorecard that actually scores you on the call, right? Some questions and objections as well. So yeah, I know we're running low on time here, but yeah, I recommend all you guys go home and try it out. This is completely free for you to try out on your own. We have like 6 public personas that you can start role playing with. Unfortunately, Christian, we can get that one working later. I don't know what happened there. I guess some small bug on our side.
So,
But
no,
thank you so much.
Thank you for being brave enough as well to do a live demo. It's kids, animals, live demos, all of them potentially create a risk. But no, I think it's fantastic to see the technology in action, the product in action. So we don't have a lot of time left, but we have had a few questions come through, and if it's all right, I'm just going to choose one of them to ask everyone. So the question is kind of, what are the challenges for any business taking this really exciting technology from an idea and a kind of a proof of concept to something that they can use and kind of productionize? Obviously, that's something that all of you are going through at the moment. So just anybody who has any thoughts on that.
I think training and ethics that sit behind it, the chance of hallucinations, and depending on your industry and what your organization sells, it could be super risky if it gets it wrong. I mean, if you're trying to, gender-based violence, for instance, is one of our project areas. If the AI avatar starts making inappropriate comments that really don't support the fact that you're trying to resolve that problem and not create it, then you've just shot yourself in the foot and you just lose trust straight away. And I'm guessing it's something similar for the other organizations as well.
I would say for me, it's education, demystifying, and helping expectations. So most people, the question isn't whether or not you do understand AI, it's how little you understand, not in a pejorative way, but just sort of helping you. It's something new, right? Particularly generative AI, something help you understand what it really is. And most people see it as a magic solution, right? There's magical thinking. Well, I have this new thing that I can sort of copy and paste, and it's going to do all these magical things for me. And sometimes it can, and oftentimes it doesn't. So it's less about just improving the way that you're doing it. It's what do you ultimately need, and can AI help you get there, right? Here's how this is done, and can you effectuate that with AI, or maybe you can't yet. And in that, setting those expectations will help people have a better experience with whatever the product is.
I think for us, it's a really bright, shiny thing. People get attracted to bright, shiny things generally, and there's the sort of thrill of the new. But where it really works, funnily enough, is where you know what you want to do to begin with. So you're using it to solve something which is a problem you already have or a vision you already have, and it's the application of that. I think there is a thing that we often bump into, which is that AI is such a broad umbrella right now, such a broad canvas of so many different verticals that sit within it, that people can get confused and go, yeah, but everything's ChatGPT. Whereas actually that's not, the answer for a lot of different scenarios. So the first thing I'd always say is, what are the 3 KPIs that you're going to judge this by? Pick 3. Any more is a bit loose, any less is lazy. So pick 3 KPIs. And then how can you achieve those with the various AI that are out there? That would be sort of it's the approach we try and take when we're dealing with customers and partners as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think that's one of the themes, obviously, of this week in particular is thinking about value first. We hear a lot from clients in so many organizations, very smart, capable organizations. Their CEO has basically said to the organization, we need a Gen AI strategy, which is a peculiar tail wagging dog situation, I think, in a lot of the cases. Very good. So all that remains for us to do is to say thank you so much to everyone who's joined on the call today. The recording is going to be available. We will obviously make sure that anybody who turns up has the web addresses for everybody who spoke on the call today. But thank you all for showing how it is possible to create genuine value from Gen AI today, and the ways in which you're doing it. So thank you.